Hey people. Throwaway account because, well, you'll see why. I never thought I'd be that guy posting here, but life has a funny way of slapping you in the face when you least expect it. So, for some background, I, 38M, have been married to my wife, 36F, for about 12 years. She's the kind of woman who turns heads when she walks into a room, absolutely stunning, comes from old money, and always made sure everyone knew it. Fancy cars, designer clothes, girls' trips to Europe, just because, you get the idea. Meanwhile, I built my own business from scratch and worked my ass off to keep up with her lifestyle, even though she always made it seem like I was the lucky one for being with her. We have one daughter together, Ellie, 7F. Honestly, Ellie is my entire world. Sweetest kid, smart too. Or at least, she was doing well in school until about 6 months ago. Suddenly, her grades started slipping, she was coming home upset, and she started complaining about her teacher, Mr. Lucas, a young, good-looking guy who teaches 2nd grade. At first, I thought maybe Ellie was just struggling with the curriculum. But my wife, let's call her Sophie, wasn't having it. She insisted on marching down to the school herself to handle it. She said things like, clearly, the school isn't up to standard, and these public schools are just breeding mediocrity. Yeah, Sophie isn't exactly humble. At first, I was proud of her for being involved. I mean, she usually preferred spa days over parent-teacher conferences. But then, things started to get weird. And that's when the real nightmare began. After Sophie's first visit to the school, things shifted in a way I couldn't quite put my finger on. She started talking about Mr. Lucas a lot. At first, it was small stuff. Mr. Lucas said Ellie's very bright, or Mr. Lucas thinks Ellie might need some enrichment. Fine, okay, whatever. Teachers talk to parents. But then it got weirdly frequent. Like, she would casually drop his name in conversations that had nothing to do with school. Mr. Lucas recommends this kid's book, or Mr. Lucas thinks music helps kids study better. It was as if this guy had suddenly become the authority on everything. And that wasn't all. She started dressing up extra whenever she went to the school. I'm talking full-on hair, makeup, heels, like she was heading to a gala, not a 2nd grade parent meeting. When I joked about it, babe, planning to win hottest mom at school, she just laughed and said, nothing wrong with looking your best. It's called standards, sweetie. I chalked it up to Sophie being Sophie, dramatic and a little vain, but not unfaithful. At least, that's what I wanted to believe. Then the late afternoons started. She would say she was volunteering more at Ellie's school, helping organize events, getting involved. She even said she was considering running for the PTA board, which floored me, because Sophie has never volunteered for anything in her life that didn't have a champagne sponsor. Still, I tried to stay supportive. I mean, involvement is good, right? Turns out, not all involvement is created equal. One Friday afternoon, everything finally clicked, and not in a good way. I had gotten off work early. Thought I'd surprise Sophie and Ellie with a little family dinner night. Something chill, maybe takeout and a movie. I picked up Ellie's favorite pizza and headed home with a goofy grin on my face, feeling like a good dad for once. When I got there, the house was dark. Weird, because Sophie was supposed to be home. She had texted earlier saying she was working on PTA stuff and too busy to run errands. Ellie was still at her after-school program, so I figured maybe Sophie was just upstairs. As I'm setting down the food, her phone buzzes on the kitchen counter. Now, I'm not the snooping type. I've always trusted her. But something in my gut told me to look. It was just instinct, like my body moved before my brain even caught up. The message was from a contact saved as Lucas Books. Already suspicious. And the message? Can't stop thinking about you since this morning. Wish we had more time. Red heart. I just stood there, frozen. I think my heart actually stopped for a second. I opened the conversation. There were weeks of texts. Flirty jokes. Compliments. Straight-up sexts. Arranging private meetings during school hours. Talking about how much she deserved better than a husband who was too busy working all the time. Every bit of it burned a hole through my chest. The worst part? One photo. A selfie of Sophie in what looked suspiciously like Ellie's classroom, leaning against the teacher's desk, pulling down the front of her blouse just enough to be suggestive, biting her lip like a freaking Instagram model. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped her phone. Right then, I knew. This wasn't just a flirtation. This was a full-blown affair. And my perfect, pretty wife wasn't even trying that hard to hide it. I don't think I've ever felt anger like I did in that moment. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the sheer audacity of it. Sophie, this woman who lived in luxury because I broke my back for years, was fooling around with some mid-30s schoolteacher who probably made half what I paid in taxes last year. I wanted to scream. Smash something. Drive to the school and knock his teeth out. But I didn't. I knew better. I needed to be smart about this. I took screenshots of everything on her phone. Every message, every picture, every emoji-laced conversation. Sent them to my own email, just in case she got clever later and tried to erase the evidence. Then I calmly put her phone back exactly where I found it. By the time she waltzed through the door, wearing a short dress and looking smug as hell, I had a whole plan in my head. We'd eat dinner like normal. Smile. Pretend. And then once Ellie went to bed, I was going to confront her, just the two of us. I wanted to see her face when she realized she wasn't as clever as she thought. The whole dinner, I watched her. The way she laughed too hard at nothing. The way she complimented my shirt out of the blue, something she hadn't done in years. It was all so fake. And for the first time, I realized just how much of our marriage had probably been fake too. When Ellie finally went to bed, I poured myself a drink, a strong one, and called Sophie into the living room. "Can we talk?" I said, as calmly as I could. She raised an eyebrow like I had just suggested we paint the house neon green, but she sat down anyway. That's when I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshots, and handed it to her. Her face went from cocky to pale in about 2 seconds flat. Sophie stared at the screen like it was on fire. At first, she didn't say anything, just sat there frozen, her mouth slightly open. I didn't rush her. I wanted her to stew in it. Finally, she tossed the phone onto the couch like it was my fault it existed. "You're overreacting," she said, crossing her arms. Overreacting. I almost laughed out loud. "Sophie," I said, keeping my voice as steady as I could, "you're cheating on me. With our daughter's teacher. At her school. In her classroom." I thought saying it out loud would make it feel more real, but honestly, it still felt like some bad Lifetime movie. She rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes, and said, "It's not what it looks like. Lucas and I are just friends. You don't even pay attention to me anymore." I needed someone to talk to. I stared at her, blinking, wondering if she genuinely thought I was that stupid. "Friends? Is that what we're calling sexting now?" She huffed and jumped up from the couch, pacing around like she was the victim here. "You don't understand. You're never home. All you care about is work." I needed to feel appreciated. "Oh yeah? And sending him half-naked selfies from our daughter's classroom, that's what, professional appreciation?" She flinched, then switched gears immediately, tears welling up in her eyes. "Weaponized crying, I call it. I didn't mean for it to happen," she sniffled. It got out of control. Lucas listened to me. He made me feel seen. God, if I had $1 for every time a cheater pulled the "he made me feel seen" card, I'd be richer than I already was. I wanted to scream at her, throw every betrayal in her face. But some part of me just deflated. I sat there, exhausted. Broken. Because at the end of the day, no matter how many excuses she threw at me, the truth was simple. She chose him. And once someone shows you who they really are, you can't unsee it. After Sophie finished her Academy Award-worthy crying session, she stood there staring at me, like she was waiting for me to comfort her. Unbelievable. I didn't say anything. I just got up, grabbed my keys, and left. I don't even remember where I drove. I just know I ended up sitting in my car in some random parking lot, staring at the steering wheel, feeling absolutely hollow. The anger I felt earlier, that wild, burning anger, was gone. Now it was just this heavy, sick sadness. Like grief. It's weird, but when someone cheats on you, it's not just about the betrayal. It's like mourning a death. The death of trust. The death of the version of your life you thought was real. All I could think about was Ellie. How this was going to rip apart her world. How she trusted us to be the steady ones, and now we were anything but. Some part of me still wanted to fix it. Some broken, desperate part of me thought, maybe counseling could help. Maybe we could rebuild. But then the logical side of my brain kicked in. How do you rebuild a house when the foundation was made of lies? I sat there for hours, running through every memory of our marriage, questioning every smile, every kiss, every "I love you." Wondering if any of it was real. Or if I was just some background character in Sophie's soap opera of a life. By the time I finally went home, I had made a decision. It was over. I just didn't know yet how messy things were about to get. I came home that night to find Sophie curled up on the couch, mascara smudged, looking like a kicked puppy. For a split second, I almost felt bad for her. Then I remembered the texts. The selfies. The lies. I didn't yell. I didn't even argue. I just told her, flat out, that I wanted a divorce. Her jaw dropped. "You're really going to throw everything away over one mistake?" she shrieked. One mistake? One mistake is forgetting an anniversary. Cheating on your husband with your daughter's teacher is a full-blown demolition of a marriage. She screamed. She cried. She accused me of being cold and heartless. I didn't care. I had already detached. What she didn't know, though, was that I had plans. I wasn't just going to leave quietly. I had no intention of letting her walk away with the house, the car, the sympathy of our friends. No, no, no. I was going to hit her where it hurt, her ego. See, while Sophie was busy screwing Lucas, the teacher, I started getting close to someone else, too. Lucas's wife, Avery, was a gorgeous, smart, and way more grounded woman than Sophie could ever dream of being. We met, accidentally, when I arranged a little meeting through the school. Turns out, Avery already had her suspicions about Lucas. It didn't take long for us to start talking. And by talking, I mean venting, long conversations that turned into coffee dates that turned into, well, more. It wasn't about revenge sex, at first. It was about two broken people finding comfort in each other. Two people who knew exactly what kind of betrayal felt like. But yeah, eventually it turned physical. And emotionally satisfying in a way I hadn't felt in years. And the best part? Sophie had no idea. Yet. I didn't have to wait long for karma to kick in. Sophie, being Sophie, couldn't help but snoop once she realized I wasn't begging for her back. She started following me around the house, checking my phone when she thought I wasn't looking, digging through my jacket pockets like a teenager hunting for beer money. One night, after I'd stayed late at work, went on a dinner date with Avery, I came home to find Sophie sitting at the kitchen table, holding my phone in her hand. Her face? Pure rage. Eyes wild, breathing like she'd just run a marathon fueled entirely by spite. "You're seeing someone," she spat. I didn't deny it. I just smiled calmly and said, "Yep. Your boyfriend's wife, actually." Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. For once, the queen of comebacks had nothing to say. When she finally found her voice, she went ballistic. Screaming that I was sick, petty, immature, cruel. All while conveniently forgetting that she was the one who blew up our family first. "You're ruining everything," she screeched. I laughed. Actually laughed. "Sweetheart, you ruined it the second you spread your legs for our daughter's English teacher." It was brutal. It was ugly. But damn, it was the truth. She stormed out of the house that night, and for a brief moment, I actually felt free. Like I could breathe again. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was taking my life back. One messy, chaotic step at a time. After Sophie stormed out, it was like a weight lifted off my chest. The house was finally quiet, no slamming doors, no fake crying, no passive-aggressive sighs at every corner. It was just me, and a fresh start. I filed for divorce the very next morning. Sophie tried to drag it out, of course. Suddenly she wanted to work things out. She was so sorry, she didn't realize how much she loved me until she lost me. Typical. But I was done. I had wasted enough of my life trying to fix something she clearly didn't value. The best part? Avery and I kept seeing each other. It wasn't just revenge anymore, it was real. She was warm, honest, grounded, everything Sophie pretended to be but never was. Funny enough, Ellie, my daughter, actually liked Avery. We took it slow, of course, but there was no drama, no games. Just two adults trying to heal and build something better. Meanwhile, Sophie kept spiraling. She tried to post all these glamorous selfies on Instagram like she was living her best life. But everyone could see right through it. The mutual friend started siding with me, the poor guy whose perfect wife turned out to be a disaster. I didn't even have to tell my side of the story. Sophie's own actions told it for me. And for once, it wasn't me who was losing sleep at night. Looking back now, it's crazy how fast everything fell apart, and how much better my life is because of it. At first, it felt like the world was ending, the betrayal, the embarrassment, the loneliness. But honestly, Sophie cheating was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to see the truth. I had been holding on to a fantasy of who I wanted her to be, not who she really was. Real love isn't built on looks, status, or flashy vacations. It's built on loyalty, respect, and showing up for each other even when life gets messy. I have that now, with Avery. It's real. It's calm. It's safe. If you're reading this because you're going through something similar, here's my advice. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't lose yourself trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. Sometimes losing someone you thought you couldn't live without is the biggest blessing in disguise. And most importantly, know your worth. Because once you do, no one, not even a gorgeous, bitchy, fake perfect wife, can take it away from you.